So as Reverend Wendy said before we started, we are still in the season of Epiphany until Lent begins in a few weeks. We've got 2 more Sundays before we hit that first week of Lent. And if there's anything like a striking realization, an epiphany about who Jesus is and what he is about, this gospel would be it. Last week, we heard Jesus announce that the kingdom of heaven has come near in chapter 4 of Matthew's gospel. We had an annual meeting. We were super focused on that, but this was what Jesus was telling us last week. The kingdom of heaven has come near, very near. People have been invited into transformation to change their course of action. The Greek is metanoia. It is a turning of the heart, a turning of a heart that happens inside, that is evident by the change in the course of action outside. We all hear this translated as repent, but it's not cut it out, you dirty sinner. Redo it, strike it, feel bad about it, and don't do it again. The Greek word is something much cooler than that. It's much more expansive. It's an invitation to full-blown transformation. Now is the time, he is saying. Who's with me? You don't have to be ready. And it's never too late. You just have to see that you are not powerless. You have agency. You can act. Walk this exhilarating tightrope with me through the middle of social chaos and inequality, he says. And don't look down at your limitations. Don't look down at your disadvantage, your disability, your loss of your social status, whether it's high or low. Look at me, Jesus says. A new course of action. Eyes on me. Epiphany is how Christ, God's anointed one, will be known. This gospel here, this is how we know him. Between Matthew 5, what we got this morning, and Matthew 25, which we'll get this year, we have all we need to know. So if you get annoyed or you lose your way this gospel year, you can return to the Beatitudes on one hand and the sheep and the goats on the other, what we call the Last Judgment. And you have everything you need. If you want to know me, know these people, Jesus says. If you want to find me, among the likes of these is where I will be. God's anointed one is known because the anointed one reveals blessing to people in circumstances that seem very unblessed. God is always coming through from the margins, from the thin places, the places that let us cut through the static and hear the sound of our own names at the altars of poverty, grief, humility, and hunger. All kinds, all kinds. Jesus just inaugurated a new community in the opening scenes of this gospel. Most often, preachers name the Beatitudes Jesus' mission statement for his ministry. Mission statements are often that paragraph that you find in a frame on a wall in the lobby of a corporation that, I don't know, maybe nobody reads it. What we have here this morning, better than a dusty old mission statement, is a manifesto for transformation. Makarios, that is the Greek word we are hearing, as blessed are they. This word does not have the verbal direction of what will be. Blessed are they if, then, over there. That is not what's going on here. Jesus is saying that this is what is already happening. Can't you see it? Metanoia, he said, and then he showed everyone what was possible, what was now, by hitting every synagogue in Galilee while curing, teaching, and feeding as he went. Makarios, you are already blessed. You have everything you need. The kingdom of heaven has come so near, it is, spoiler alert, already within you. Yes, you imperfect, insecure, incomplete, wonderful, beloved human. You, Makarios, blessed. 1,200 or so years after Jesus verbally posted this manifesto, the prophet, poet Rumi was laughing his way through telling us, hey, It's rigged. Everything in your favor. So there's nothing to worry about. I know there is a gold mine in you, he wrote. Okay, that's nice. I love it. However, I am currently, like so many people these days, myself feeling exposed, vulnerable, and honestly, everybody, like most things are rigged against me. I get a text from my 22-year-old daughter this morning. Why is everything so hard? I'm working hard. Why isn't this working? Yeah, there's a lot of us feel like that. I can't see past the gap between now and everything in my favor. I cannot find the gold mine I hear is buried within me. And I'm not the only one. So I'm asking the prophets and the poets, and I'm asking you, my friends, will you help me find it? Will you help each other, your neighbor, to find it too? In addition to my work here as your associate pastor, I'm also a certified grief and loss counselor. And so I spend time with people listening deeply to their experiences of real aching loss and try to see if we can find some completion, some closure, come back to the present. Right now, I'm working with a woman who was widowed last Halloween morning, losing her husband, who was in his early 50s, and finding herself the only parent to her 8 and 12-year-old boys. It feels out of line, even obnoxious, to tell someone like her that she is blessed, that she has everything she needs in this moment. This is a woman who's panicking and putting her house on the market. She doesn't know how to shelter herself. She feels so exposed. We want to tell her that everything is rigged in her favor. We want to say, blessed are you who mourn, you will be comforted. How can Jesus stand there on a slight incline and tell someone whose heart hurts so much that she forgets to eat, that she is blessed? Was anyone listening to him that day brave enough to say, hey, I am the one to whom you say, blessed are you who mourn? And I'm not experiencing any of this as blessing, much less standing in the confidence that I have everything I need, that I am comforted. I am actually deeply and profoundly uncomfortable. Who here in this congregation today has lost a beloved, has lost a marriage, a child, or the dream of the life they thought they might live, has lost trust in institutions, lost the strength of their physical body or vitality or health? Does it feel like you had at the time of that loss, or even now, everything you need? You will be comforted, says Jesus. You will be embraced. And know the drawing near of the God who calls you beloved. Do we believe him? Now, there are 9 Beatitudes, so I'm just going to pick on one today. We could have a sermon on all 9 of them. But this one is from verse 4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Penthuntes is the Greek here, mourning, and it means a deep lament or grief, a longing, shadowed sadness as deep as the heart of God, an intense inward sorrow that carries the weight of shocking and unrecoverable loss. Jesus is not calling into the circle those who are a little bummed out or sort of disappointed. I didn't get any sauce on the side. This is profound pain. The loss of prosperity, the loss of the dream of your life, the loss of a loved one you simply cannot accept is gone. You're blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you, Jesus says. Only then can you be embraced by the one, the God, most dear to you. I was recently talking with my Aunt Annie, this is my dad's sister, about the death of her daughter, Beth. It's my cousin. We were telling stories about my dad, too. This is her brother. My dad died in 2019. He was 75. And that was too young. And we started talking about my cousin. She was closest in age to me. I have a lot of cousins. I come from a really big Irish Catholic family. And my cousin Beth was I think we were about 6 months apart. And like me, Beth had 3 daughters and a son. She was a brilliant scientist and mathematician, and she died of breast cancer at 42, leaving all those kiddos behind. And as we shared our stories, Annie said to me, in every relationship, there is the lover and the beloved. And each takes turns in these identities, back and forth. The beloved receives, the lover gives, back and forth. But there is a third person in every relationship, she said to me. And that third person is love. And when the lover or the beloved dies, she said, there is the love present between them, ready to step in and take the place of the one who was lost. The reality of that love, the presence of the one who seems so lost to you, or the thing that seems so lost to you, is there because, and my aunt is also a mathematician, she said in her cheerful way, that is how physics works, and that is how God works. Blessed are you, you have everything you need. Still not there yet? Well, let's take our seats here for an interlude of prophetic stand-up comedy. I don't know if you're aware that the prophet Micah is really trying to pull your chain to get your attention this morning. The comic style is straight sarcasm. And so before Micah brings us to the water of what we need to know, what will soothe us and challenge us in equal measure, he thinks it's time for jokes. So most of us are really familiar with Micah 6:8, that last part, if you want to look at it in your bulletin again. When people hear about the prophet Micah, they're like, oh, I love that verse. So there's actually like a lot of stuff going on in there. So we get the 7 verses before that this morning. And I want to put it into context. So all of the biblical prophets use particular genres, a love song, a funeral dirge, and Micah chooses the metaphor here of covenant lawsuit. So we've got some lawyers here. You understand this. Rise, plead your case before the mountains, for the Lord has an indictment before his people. You are being formally prosecuted, Israel. You have been served here. Imagine Israel saying, well, what has God even done for us? Well, let's take a look at this here. What has God done for us? Oh, my people, what have I done to you? In what have I wearied you? God says, oh, I don't know, a bunch of awesome stuff like lead you out of slavery, give you Moses to lead you and Aaron to teach you and Miriam to celebrate and inspire you. Let's see, what else? Protect you from pagan plots and offer you the Divine Witness Protection Program so you could feel safe and free when you thought everything was hopeless and doomed. Oh yeah, that's nothing much, guys. Here's Israel. Oh wait, sorry. With what shall we come before the Lord? And Micah, still in the jokes, starts at the top of the list of all sacrifices. And then gets even more crazy, talking about 1,000 rams and 10,000 rivers of oil. No one has all this stuff. Who's he talking to? Then he throws in child sacrifice. And so we see that he starts at ridiculous, and then he goes to exponential ridiculous, and then to what the current king is doing. And this is where Israel is supposed to get that this is sarcasm, if they haven't caught on yet. And then he says, God doesn't want any of that. And you all know this. You have been told what is good. Mishpat, live together with a sense of right and wrong, providing equity. Chesed, show each other a loyal love, mercy, and loving kindness. And lastly, and this is where the Hebrew is a little weird, but this is what we get. Walk humbly with your God. You have everything you need. You do not need to get fancy. With your God, with Emmanuel, God is with us. None of this is something we are asked to do alone or even just with other humans. that deep grief, that mourning, don't do it alone. God has been with us, and God will be with us. And we are invited by Jesus the prophet to look around and see that God is with us now, even here, even in our grief and mourning, especially in our grief and mourning, whatever it is. When we feel the loss of what was, and we lean into the openness, the chasm, and reach across for the embrace of the God most near and dear to us, which we often don't until things break down in our lives. God is there. Be not afraid, God says. I go before you always. This is how Jesus has the authority, the audacity to tell the grieving that they have everything they need now. Blessed, you will be comforted. You will find that the God you seek is right there by your side, the advocate who speaks and acts with you on your behalf, right here. There's famously a woman named Lila Watson. She was a feminist and an Aboriginal activist. And she said, if you have come just to help me, you're wasting your time. But if you have come because you understand that your liberation, your freedom, your expansion, your deep knowing of yourself as beloved is bound up with mine right here, then come on, we've got work to do together. Remember that Jesus was a fatherless member of the underclass in first century Roman-occupied Palestine. His physical presence in history is a relevant detail of the stories we tell. According to, everyone, nothing was rigged in his favor. Nothing. Yet, he speaks with authority and with love. And I'm going to bet that those people listening didn't stand up and say, are you kidding? I don't feel comforted. Because he was standing right there. What you need is here, he said. It is there in your lap, in your heart. This is true for me too, right now, in my current upset, my vulnerability, my disappointment, at what feel like losses I cannot control on my left and my right. Do I believe him? Jesus came to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. We are the comfortable. We are the afflicted too. We are given to one another so that we might know who we are and what the project is here, and that God is with us. God is with us. When we find ourselves lovers and beloveds, there in between us always is love. Metanoia, transform. The kingdom of heaven is right here, right here. Blessed, Makarios. Feel the vibrational truth of your own name. Become what you feel. Be who you are. Blessed are you, the bringers of joy. I want to leave you this morning with this blessing from a Black Rock prayer book written by Reverend Brian Baker. It feels like some new Beatitudes. The world is now too dangerous, says Reverend Baker, and too beautiful for anything but love. May your eyes be so blessed that you see God in everyone, your ears so you hear the cry of the poor. May your hands be so blessed that everything you touch is a sacrament. Your lips so you speak nothing but the truth with love. May your feet be so blessed you run to those who need you. And may your heart be so open, so set on fire, that your love changes everything. Amen.
Amen.